It truly is an honor to be here this afternoon to share my story with you all. And it's my distinct hope and desire that you listen carefully to what I have to say and apply it to your life whenever you make decisions every day. My name is Eric Searcy. I'm from right here in Baton Rouge, and I am totally prepared to get booed off the stage whenever I tell y'all that I went to the Dunham School. And it is not my character to sit here and brag about how many times we beat y'all in baseball and football when I was in high school. It is totally against me to brag about how many strikeouts I had against y'all from junior high all the way through high school. I'm just kidding, but no, look, baseball was my love during my time at Dunham, and fell in love with the sport at a young age. And it's springtime, summertime. If you're looking for me, just find a baseball field. That's where I was. And the summer after my junior year, I got a letter that any young baseball player in this area would love to get. And it was a letter from LSU saying that they had officially started the recruiting process, and would basically boil down to how my senior season went when they would make the decision. So fast forward to my senior year, and I had an excellent year. I was all-state, all-district, and undefeated that year, and got a call from the coach's office, and they were asking me about my grades. Well, that was the year that they started the TOPS program, and I qualified for TOPS. So they didn't have to give up a scholarship. I was basically a free player, and enrolled at LSU, scheduled all my classes, and 2 weeks before the semester started, I had to take a form to the baseball office from my doctor. It was just a release form saying that I was healthy enough to play, and went in the office, and the recruiting coach called me in. He said, "Eric, have a seat." He said, "I've been meaning to call you. I just signed a junior college pitcher from Texas. So unfortunately, we're not going to need you." And I mean, I can't describe that feeling. It was a long, slow walk back to my car. Got in my car, literally put my head over on the steering wheel and said, "God, what now?" It went from the highest of highs to the lowest of lows in a matter of seconds. And fortunately, the very next morning, got a phone call from Coach Robichaux at UL in Lafayette. And he had heard what had happened, so he wanted my dad and I to go down there, so we did that day. We drove down there and toured the facility and met with the coaching staff, and it seemed like a good fit, but he had already filled the roster for that year, so all he could offer me was a position was called a preferred walk-on, which is basically a semester-long tryout. It means I would get to practice with the team all fall, but ultimately would have to beat out somebody who was already on the roster. So I accepted and packed my bags and moved to Lafayette, and it was a super exciting time in my life. 18 years old, first time living away from home and not under the same roof as my parents, and being able to go where I want, when I want. No curfew, don't have to check in with mom and dad every hour on the hour. And but things went great that semester. Not only on the baseball field, but in the classroom. And the last day of that semester, December the 5th, 1998, I went in and took my last final exam. After the exam, went to the baseball field and locker room and walked in. Sure enough, there was a note on the board for me to go into Coach Robichaux's office immediately. I remember bowing my head and saying, "God, please let my dream come true." Walked in his office and he said, "Eric, have a seat." It's like, uh-oh, here we go again. I don't like this "have a seat" when you walk into the coach's office, but he He said, it's my job here as a head coach to find the players that will take this team to the next level. After evaluating you this fall, I feel like you're somebody who can do that. Congratulations, you made the team. And it was like 18 and a half years of hard work, and my dream had finally come true. As fast as I could get back to my apartment, I did. I couldn't wait to call my parents. And my dad picked up the phone, and he could hear the excitement in my voice. He knew I'd made the team, and so we talked for a while. He congratulated me over and over. I'll never forget what I told my dad before I hung up the phone. I said, Dad, I just finished my first semester of college. I made good grades. I've got an awesome girlfriend. And now my dream of being a college baseball player has come true. I said, Dad, I cannot imagine life getting any more perfect. Could not imagine life getting any more perfect. I hung up the phone with my dad and called my best friend. Just with baseball and school, he still lived in Baton Rouge. We didn't get to see each other that much that semester. So I called and told him the news, and he insisted on coming down to celebrate with me. And so him and a couple of my other good buddies drove to Lafayette. And we went out and we celebrated. And I remember getting in the car to come home that night. And the last thing I remember is closing the door when I got in the car. And when I opened my eyes, it was 31 days later. And I was staring up into the lights. All I could hear was the sound of heart monitors, life support, doctors, nurses talking. It's like I knew where I was, but I couldn't process what was going on. And I tried to ask my dad where I was. My mom and dad were sitting next to my bed. But I couldn't talk because I had what's called a tracheotomy. It's a tube basically going straight into my throat and breathing for me. So he had to read my lips. I said, Dad, where am I? He said, you're in the hospital in Baton Rouge. Wow. Eric, you're in an accident. What kind of accident? I'll never forget the tears rolling down his face. Him and my mom. He said, son, you got hit by a drunk driver. I was like, no, not me. I mean, you see that on the news. You read about it. It's always somebody else, not me. I said, well, thank God I'm alive. He told me what day it was. It was January the 6th. So, Dad, I've got to get back to Lafayette. Spring practice starts tomorrow. Coach will kill me if I'm not there. He said, Eric, you're not going anywhere for a while. What do you mean? Eric, you're paralyzed. And that's when reality set in that I couldn't move anything below my neck. He went on to tell me the whole story on the way home that night. A drunk driver passed out behind the wheel and ran through a red light going 70 miles an hour and hit the car that I was riding in broadside. The impact shattered 3 of the vertebrae in my neck. I was transported to Our Lady of the Lord's Hospital in Lafayette. Spent 3 days in intensive care there. I was then airlifted to Our Lady of the Lake here in Baton Rouge, where I spent 30 days in intensive care. They had a more qualified neurosurgeon here in Baton Rouge than they did in Lafayette. To perform the 14-hour surgery, it required for 16 titanium screws and 4 titanium rods to be put in my neck just to hold my spine. together. But there is no cure for spinal cords, and my spinal cord was severed. After 31 days of intensive care here in Baton Rouge, I was airlifted to Jackson, Mississippi, to a rehab facility where I spent 3.5 months of what I can only describe as a living hell on earth. It's the only way to describe it. Couldn't breathe on my own, couldn't move anything below my neck. But thankfully, God saw fit to give me the strength it took to retrain my lungs so that I could breathe on my own and regain most of the use of my arms. But why did all this happen? Because one person made one bad decision. One person didn't hand his keys to his friend. One person, one bad decision, ripped my lifelong dream away from me. I never got to put on my uniform at ULL. And 1 year later, whenever my teammates were competing for the national championship in Omaha, Nebraska, to this day, the only time the UL has ever made it to the College World Series, I was supposed to be there. But instead, I was sitting in this wheelchair just a few miles down the road from here in my bedroom, watching my teammates live out my dream. Look, I don't want y'all to misunderstand me. Listen close. Hear me. Hear what I have to say. I'm not here today asking a single one of y'all to feel sorry for me. I don't feel sorry for myself. I've accomplished more from this wheelchair than I ever dreamed I would. And I've still got a lot left to do. But I hate the way I have to live my life. I hate the fact that I'm in this wheelchair. And it's because one person made one bad decision. And you know, as if I didn't have enough obstacles to overcome in life. Fast forward to December the 28th, just 4 months ago. December 28th, 2017. Got up like every morning, going to work. Just a few miles from here on River Road. Truck swerves into my lane and hits me head on. 50 miles an hour. I was doing 45. As soon as he hit me, another truck rear-ended me, spun me off the road, and I hit another vehicle that was parked in a driveway. And I just heard a guy start screaming, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry." It was a guy that hit me. And he came up to my window and he said, "I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have been sending that text. I now have 2 herniated discs and a bulging disc in my back, and just found out a month ago that I have a broken vertebra in my back, and I'm staring at surgery again. I feel like I'm going through it all over again. Because one person made one bad decision and decided to look at his phone while he was driving. It can wait. I want y'all to hear this. Nobody asked me to come here today to try to scare y'all out of making bad decisions. But the reality of what I live through every day, what happens on these streets, in this city, in this state, and in this country, every single day is very scary. Happens every day. And it may be hard for some of you to comprehend this. But I'll tell you the way I look at it. I'm the lucky one. Because I'm still here to tell you my story. There's a lot of people that aren't here to tell you their story. And it happens every day. Young people, y'all are in the prime of your life right now. You have got your whole life ahead of you. Don't let one bad decision steal your hopes and your dreams. Don't let one bad decision lead to your parents getting the phone call that mine got in the middle of the night saying, get to the hospital, we're not sure if he's going to make it. Be that friend. Be the one who stands up and says, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to let you do that. You've got your whole life ahead of you. Good decisions lead to good outcomes. Bad decisions, you're looking at what happens right here. Thank y'all so much for your time today.